How to survive in a stressed out world, okay? And trust me, in this week, we're going to blow through this quick. Number one thing, what we're going to do is give away a live blood cell analysis and full body thermography, talking $650 value, for the first 50 people to get to Extreme Health Academy. They just sign up for a 1-year subscription. I think it's $199. This way you help Justin and Kate and get access to all the vital information. This is to keep you healthy. Okay, but I'm going to give away 50 of these. So you just got to come down to Mexico. I'll meet you. We'll hang out. You'll like it. Let's go into craziness. Well, right now, Stanford, because when we're looking at the current pandemic, there have been estimates that it's 10 times the amount of flu. Panic, shut down everything. Well, it turns out that Stanford University says it's about the same size as the flu. And when we look at this, sure enough, the death rate is about 0.1%. What does that mean? That means that the media is blowing it up. Now, this isn't the first time the media blew up numbers to panic to people. It is the first time ever that we've experimented in quarantining healthy people and shutting down all the businesses. How good is that working? Well, according to the UN, hundreds of thousands of kids will die this year. Hundreds of thousands of kids because of shutting down the economy. That's insane. Well, I got to tell you, 2003, this was a brilliant article, but he talked about how the media is hyping it up. Now think of this. I think the problem is that we have such a fearful moment is that the media doesn't put enough effort into putting things into perspective and saying what people can quite safely do. Nothing is absolutely safe and nothing is absolutely certain. I actually think the public does like to be afraid, and the media plays that fear. And in this case, I'm not saying that they create it, but they do play on it. Absolutely. And that's what we're seeing. It's the sensationalism. Even when I talk to people and I say, look, you have a 99.9% chance of living, that nearly 100% of people that die with this die from a comorbidity. And what do they say? No, there was a young person in Belgium that died. You know, and it's always like, no, out of the 7 billion people, there was one incident. Okay, we have to look at what's safe and what's not safe. The average daily death is 7,700 people die. That means life kills, in America, 7,700 people die every day. Let's look at the masks. World Health Organization, what do they say about wearing masks? They say there's no evidence that wearing a mask by healthy persons in wider community and universal community can prevent infection. What does the California Department of Public Health say? There's limited evidence that suggests a face covering during public pandemic can help the transmission. What is this was a brilliant study out of South Korea. They had 4 people, all COVID positive, coughing in a petri dish, with a mask coughing in a petri dish, or the N95, and with a cotton mask. They found out it didn't protect. Think of this. You're putting a healthy person with the mask, you're restricting oxygen, you're increasing anxiety, decreasing oxygen. That's going to downregulate the immune system. That weakens your immune system. Why are you wearing this? Are you wearing this mask because you're afraid of viruses in the air? That's a risk. Strengthen your health. Are you going to round? Is this the new normal where you have to wear a mask and gloves and everything else to have social interaction? Wake up, okay? When I was a teenager, okay, they told me to dig a hole for sewers. I jumped in this hole, dug around this broken sewer line, and you know what the plumbers were saying? Watch out for that brown trout. And sure enough, somebody flushed in the house, and you get what's coming down. You can't get more filth than that. Okay, we are designed with an immune system to handle it. Obviously, you got to wash your hands, but this is psychotic. Turns out, interestingly, the swabs on the inside of the mask didn't show anything, but the outside it showed all the time. Get rid of these. Now, let's look at this. This is crazy, because when we're talking about death at a glance from the CDC site, and I want to show you this. This was April 13th, about a week ago, all right, 2 weeks ago. The COVID deaths, 6,000. Deaths from all causes. Remember, 7,700 people die every day. Expected percentage of deaths. Look at this. Pneumonia deaths. Deaths with pneumonia and COVID and influenza. Now, why would you add those categories? Wouldn't you want to do it? It turns out that it's this suspected cases, presumed cases. That's not accurate. They changed it. Okay. What do they have now? COVID deaths, deaths from all causes, percentage of deaths. Then we have pneumonia deaths, pneumonia with COVID, influenza, now deaths with pneumonia, influenza, and COVID. And this does not add up to these. Those are different categories. Where are they coming up with this? Again, the media is trying to increase this. What's the CDC? Where do we get this from? The CDC, they are a military organization designed to protect us from biologic warfare. And this is why they have the authority to communicate to the government to shut everything down. This is where the numbers are getting screwed up. This was a letter to all the doctors in the U.S. saying that COVID diagnosis or COVID should be reported on death certificates for any disease assumed to have caused or contributed. That means if you sneeze and get hit by a cab and they find out you have COVID, you died with COVID. Okay, now, let's look way back to 2018. They actually did tests to see what kind of normal bugs you have in your body. Sure enough, in the summertime, you had less bugs or pathogens than you do in the wintertime. But look this out. Okay, 50% had rhinovirus, 65% had coronavirus, and coronavirus, that's in 2018. Okay, almost 40%, 38.7%, and 10% for other viruses. So coronavirus actually affects between 25 and 38% of people. Now, do you know what you call an asymptomatic carrier? An asymptomatic carrier is called a healthy person. This person that got exposed and they're okay. The PCR test is completely inaccurate. You're looking at, this study shows over an 80% a false positive rate, so the tests aren't accurate. But how do we grow up? Okay, this was a brilliant article, 2010. Think of the first sentence. First, humans co-evolved in a normal community of symbiotic bacteria and parasitic worms. They were eliminated by either hygiene or antibiotics, and immune systems can react to this unnatural situation for producing allergies, asthma, and autoimmunes. That's right. We're designed to live in this environment. If any doctor says this is the new normal, stay 6 feet apart, don't touch. This is not a handshake. This is a handshake. Okay, let's get out of that. Many diseases with contemporary Western populations spread across the globe. Discordance between our ancient genetically influenced biologic and dietary and cultural and physical activity pattern. Absolutely. We are designed to live here. You are designed to live with viruses. Viruses are 45% of your DNA. We know that the SARS vaccine, this was 2004. They had trouble developing it then. That's why now it's not called COVID-19. It's called SARS-CoV-2. Yeah, son of COVID. So you look at this again, another one saying extreme caution should be taken in proposed human trials of the SARS vaccine. Another study saying such knowledge provides a model for study. Okay, all of this is when they're looking at these vaccine trials way back when. It turns out that the trials, and again, this was in 2005, so this was 15 years ago they were testing this, and they couldn't make it. Why? Because the animals that they injected developed the antibodies, but then when they were exposed to the wild virus, they had lung hemorrhages, everything bad. I mean, it's just insane. Then, National Institute of Health says that if you get a vaccine, that it can actually spread the virus. And what else do you hear? Oh, once we get the vaccine, we can go back to normal. Gotta wait for the vaccine. Otherwise, this is the new normal. Really? About 60 to 80,000 people every year die of influenza in this country. Guess what, folks? We have vaccines for influenza. What would we have without it? Will we have more or less? I don't know. This article stands to question that the vaccines probably are contributing to the spread of it. Viruses are an integral part of our immune system. It's an integral part of our environment. You have, and I love this, viruses are everywhere and don't instantly equate to bad. They are not harmful. In fact, they play a valuable role. Fabio Romero, Institute of Human Virology. It's not a living organism. It's a well-organized molecular parasite. Your body has trillions of viruses, trillions of cells, and trillions of bacteria. This is harmony. If you start doing this antibacterial destruction of your normal skin flora, you weaken your immune system. Bacteria, normal flora, this means it's in the normal area. Now, when we have bacteria on the eyes, you have bacteria on your skin. You actually have staph epididymis, which protects you from other types of pathogenic staph. You have viruses, funguses, and bacteria. Once you realize that you're living in harmony with this environment, you don't need to be scared. This one, normal flora in children, Moraxia catarrhalis. This one, but in a sick, weakened person, it can cause pneumonia, bronchitis, meningitis. So why is it normal in one person, abnormal in another? Can you see the psychosis of this testing? This testing doesn't make any sense, because if you're finding asymptomatic carriers, 38% in 2018 had coronavirus. What do you think this is? You're going to find it normal in a healthy person, abnormal in a sick person. E. coli, fantastically normal, helps you digest food in the intestinal tract. However, it's responsible for hospital-acquired infections, UTIs, everything. Don't worry, folks. Packaged meats now have a sprayed virus on it, a bacteria-eating virus called Listex. Yes, it can provoke allergies and asthma because it's synthesized in a lab. That's right. Isn't that interesting, though, that viruses can actually eat up bacteria, and bacteria can eat, it's an ecosystem. What can you do now? Don't panic. Do not look for immune medical advice. These are the 5 keys. Number 1, get your nervous system checked. Why? Because if you're in a stress state, your body has decreased nerve supply to the gut and weakened immune system response. Exercise. Why? Because every time you move your body, you strengthen your body. This stimulates the brain's awareness of the environment. Look at proper nutrition. If man makes it, don't eat it. Basic stuff. When you look at fruits and vegetables, you increase organic fruits and vegetables, you can start to reverse these diseases, which are really adaptations from the toxic modern environment that you're living in. Goodness gracious, fermented foods build the gut, help your brain. Look at the phytonutrients, amazing. Eliminate GMOs, non-toxic stuff. Sleep, absolutely vital. Look at the drugs that can interrupt sleep. Sleep is when your body regenerates. It's time to take control of your life and start to regenerate yourself. When does that happen? At nighttime. What are people doing? They're being programmed by the psychotic news to say, be afraid of your neighbor, or if your neighbor's not wearing a mask, turn him in. No, we stopped that. Look at our insomnia correction. Okay, look at our sleep videos. We have over a dozen of them. Prayer and meditation. If you have a connection with a power that's greater than you, if you have meditation where you can get in that parasympathetic state, what happens? In this one, they injected mice, which had a 100% fatality rate, and all they did was hold them. And why did the mice live? Okay, I'm not talking to hold them like this. I'm talking to hold them in a cage. They live because there's an energy about people. This is going to be the future of medicine. And why am I giving away the thermography and live blood cell analysis? So I could show people that they're beautiful inside, that there is something vital that they can contribute to the world, but they can walk around confidently. When you look in a mirror, you smile because you are made by God. There is a brilliance. This was a study about how a person that was allergic to poison ivy could suppress a symptom and create it on another arm. Amazing. All with the power of the mind. Your body. Remember this one from high school? No, baby. The atoms that your molecules are composed of, the molecules that compose your cells and the cells that compose the tissues, they found out that atoms blink in and out of existence. This is what you do. Physical, structural, world chelation, sauna, emotional, NLP. Look at your physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. You will get healthy. This is Dr. John Bergman. God bless you. I love you.